Hi, this is Mark with your analysis for the week commencing the 16th of October. A mixed week last week, but as I explained in the write-up, there are trades to be made. There are trades to be made in either direction at the moment. It's all about patience and discipline and having a bit of faith in your strategy and planning ahead. Now this is the Aussie dollar, and last week at the market open, prior to market open down here, I said I was looking for a potential short at 100. And what I said in the write-up was the way I would play this would after 20-25 pips take some profit, or at least move the stop to entry to protect the trade, and then let the balance to run. And had you done so, this trade actually moved approximately 130 pips. So there was profit to be had there. Then what happened? Later in the week, I cautioned prior to this move here that I thought that the Aussie dollar to me now was looking bullish, and therefore I would be no longer looking to short. And sure enough, the Aussie dollar burst through. And I also explained in the write-up why this was logical, as the Australian economy is in much better state than the US, and there has been a few solid weeks of positive news from Australia as well. So we get the breakthrough. Well, at this point then for me, because I was trading with the trend and in a downtrend, I was no longer looking for a trade. However, Dean with his method, with his STT method, was then starting to look, and he explained in his video during the week that he was then looking for potential longs in this area, and he showed you multiple reasons, a number of reasons why he was looking to trade. So the bottom line is there are trades to be taken in either direction. You have to decide as an individual whether or not you only wish to concentrate on one method, and in doing so you have to accept the fact that there will be times that there will be no trades. And when I say times, sometimes there will be weeks without trades. If on the other hand you are able mentally and time-wise to be a bit more flexible, then you can always consider other methods. Although I do suggest it's best not to have two methods that are so completely different that it will just simply confuse you. Now, this Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar now for me is in an unusual situation, because as we can see here on the daily, we had this big move down the week before. Price had closed outside the Bollinger Band on a weekly. Price has now moved back up. It broke through the all-important 100, and it's now broken above the weekly 55 EMA, which just happens to be that area I just showed you on the 4-hour chart where it struggled on the way up logically. Now, the ways to play this. If you are of a mind that this is still in a downtrend until it breaks 78.6, then technically that is the case. Then you need to start to look at areas for potential shorts. And one area that did hold previously was 10500. So the way to play this, as I say in the write-up, the problem at the moment is most experts are undecided, meaning that they have no more idea than you or I where things are going to go. But if you're looking to pick trades, then potential shorts, I will be interested here, but I would not place a forward order. I would sit and watch it on a lower time frame and see what it does, but that is the main area. We've got the 78.6, it could spike, touch the 105 and then back down again. If, however, you are of a mind that this is now going up, then you need to start looking for entries. I wouldn't be wanting to enter here because we have this upper daily trend line. So for me, I would need a pullback. Logical areas to look for pullbacks at EMAs. The main one would be this weekly one here, this weekly 55. So barring any really bad Aussie news, then if it comes down to here, I will be looking to long. If we get a major move down, then obvious area for a potential long is 100. But I say it is a mixed bag, and this is not the kind of market where you can be placing forward orders and walking away, in my opinion. Certainly not with this strategy. The British pound, and the British pound last week when price was down here, I said I would be looking on the weekly for a short at 158.50, and it did it to the pip. Unfortunately, it did it to the pip on Friday, and I don't trade Fridays, therefore I missed it. But once again, it's a missed opportunity. Now, what's happening with the pound? And as I showed you last week, we've got the 5-8 crosses now well behind us. We're moving up. We're coming into key areas. If price gets back up to 160, then I would be interested to short this pair. And the reason is, let's have a look on a weekly chart. As you know, we always look for multiple reasons. 160 is a huge psychological area and huge area of previous support and resistance. And we also have to happen to have these weekly 34 and 55 EMAs and a prior trend line. So if it comes up to here, I will short. However, I will do just as I showed you with the Aussie dollar. I will look for this move on the 4-hour chart, and I will move my stop to entry as soon as possible, 20-25 pips in profit. Because normally what happens with these major cycle levels is usually, as with the Aussie dollar, price will come up, fingers in the fire, there will be a lot of sell orders in place here, price will at least temporarily pull back. As to whether or not you then catch a bigger move or not is really in the lap of the gods. If this breaks, then we'd have to look later in the week for potential longs on this pair. This is the CAD. This is what I was talking about, flexibility. During the week, I showed you how one of the members, Forex Tiger, had pointed out a potential head and shoulders pattern here on this daily chart. And what he'd said in the forum was, he was asking, was it one? And I did your detailed analysis on Wednesday. I showed you how this is the head, this is the shoulder, this was the potential right shoulder. We placed the neckline into the chart. And what you look for a break and a close. So this was Wednesday when I was talking about early Wednesday morning. Explained you look for a break and a close from this candle, pull back to the line, short with a view to a move further down. And the overall target for this, what you do is you take a line from the neckline to the head, and that's telling you that the move should be approximately 340 pips, that middle figure there, and therefore a 340 pip move from here should take you down approximately anywhere around 1000, the major whole number, or all the way down to this 200 EMA on the daily, which does look very tempting. Now the way I played this is I have taken some of my profit off at the 4-hour 200 EMA, which I showed you on Wednesday. And what I said before the event is we were down here at the time. If it gets to here, I would short. Took my first profit here because you see previously price struggled here. And to be honest, I am going to take 90, well, by the time we get to 100, I will have 85 to 90% of the trade out. And I'll leave then a very small percentage for a possible big move down. But in general, to me, this huge cycle level, just as I explained with the pound and the Aussie dollar, it's quite logical with the CAD that it would come down here and there will be buyers in this area for a bounce back up. So Euro USD on a weekly. And again, we had this major move. I showed you last week how price was outside the Bollinger Band and a return inside was likely. Well, it not only returned inside, it shot up. And what has it done? It's now stopped at this 50% on a weekly, and this is where confusion starts. This is a weekly move up. So on a weekly move up, price came down to 78.6, didn't break, we're still in an up. On a daily, this recent move has been in a downwards direction. So what do? Well, if you're completely confused, then you walk away. That's the simple fact. If you are of a mind that this is going to go down again, then you would look around 140 for clues for shorts. It is a psychological level, it is a previous support and resistance area, and just above it you do have this 61.8 fib, giving you a little bit more confidence. The difficulty with the euro, as I've said in recent weeks, is all these weekend meetings and all the shenanigans going on where they're basically trying to kid the market that they've got it all sorted. There's still, most people, I think, most experts are convinced that Greece will default. It's just simply how Eurozone managed to whitewash it. But the danger is with this pair, I'm going to leave this pair this week. The other one that you go to when looking at the Euro USD for clues is the Usd Swissy. If the euro is going up, as we have here now, then the Swissy should be going down. This is known as correlation, and at the moment it is. So for the Swissy, what would you do? Well, I only want to long. We had the major move a few weeks back where the Bank of Switzerland intervened on this pair, and they set the limit, I believe it was 8,500. At 8,500, if price gets back down there, then the Bank of Switzerland will intervene to weaken their currency. So that is the obvious area of potential longs. So if the euro carries on up, then we start looking for the Swissy to pull back. First area to consider is this area here, which is 8,800 area, because we have a daily trend line in place, we have a 200 EMA and a 34 just behind and a 55. So this is a major area of previous support and resistance, etc, etc. So that's the first area to consider. The more cautious amongst you are long at 8,500. Aussie dollar yen on a monthly. I don't trade it that often, but the huge area has to be around 8,200. This is on a monthly chart. We have monthly EMAs in place, and because this lot have been horizontal now going back really to the beginning of the year, Then the same situation on the weekly and almost on the daily. So here on the weekly, these EMAs in the same area. You notice how price a few weeks ago came up, touched this area and moved away. I will be interested for potential shorts in this area. This is a euro pound, and the euro pound, I was only looking for shorts last week. And what did price do? It came up, broke through, then broke this upper trend line. If you are now thinking in terms of longing this pair, then the area would be around 8,700 because we have these EMAs, because it's a huge psych level, and also we have this weekly 55 at the moment at 86.90, but it will be turning up after last week's move. So anywhere around 8,700 to these EMAs, 87.20, I would be interested to long this pair. Be careful though, there is major previous support and resistance around 8,800, and this pair does respect the whole numbers a lot of the time. So once again, it could be a limited move, and the euro pound, as you know, only has a very small average range, and the average for the last 30 days, slightly higher than normal, 86. The usual average is about 60. So a move from 80 up to 88 would certainly be enough. This is the euro yen. The euro yen, again, as with the Aussie dollar yen, has pulled back. I'm more cautious with this pair because we don't have any other areas really in place. All we have to go on is previous support and or a bit of the fibs, but this is weaker to me. I would leave this alone, and because of this euro situation with the news coming out, drip, 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 I'd leave it alone. Dollar yen finally. We had a major move last week after about 8 weeks of going absolutely nowhere. You think that you've got the breakout, then it comes back inside. It's just messing around until it does something. Best thing with this is just let it do it and then try and catch a pullback. Gold and silver, I showed you last week, we're just creeping ever so slowly back up after a major period of consolidation. This is the crucial area for gold. If it breaks this area, then we could be on back up for a big tear back up again, which is quite normal. And the last one for today is silver. Very similar pattern to gold. We were way outside the Bollinger the previous weeks. We've now consolidated. It now depends what happens up here. If you're not in the precious metal, as I said to you last week, if it gets down to 29, I would suggest that's a good area for you to consider. Okay, Dean will be with you tomorrow with his STT method. He's been having a great deal of success with it in recent weeks, and it is the most simple of the systems we teach. So perhaps if you are new, that is the one to concentrate on first. Have a great week.